Good day, everyone. This is Noble Mike Jamison here for another great training for you on today. Today's topic is going to be the top 4 areas for change in your business. Okay, so we're going to jump right into the training today. The first thing I want to share with you, and I want you to write these down, is that you must immediately identify what are your wants and reasons for being successful. And it has to be bigger than money. You can't answer this question generically. Like, what are your real wants and reasons? And so for me, being a single father with children, I wanted to make sure that I could provide for them, but more importantly, not just provide for them, but provide for them the lifestyle that they ultimately desired to have. And so it's all about that for me. And so you want to make sure that you identify that immediately upon joining the opportunities is what are your wants and reasons. And you have to make sure that we eliminate the excuses that people have and make sure we turn those excuses into reasons, because sometimes you may meet some folks and they say, hey, look, I have 2 jobs. Well, that's not the reason you shouldn't do it. Okay, that's an excuse. So you want to make sure that we turn that excuse into the reason. Well, you do got 2 jobs. That should be the reason that you start the business. Well, you hear some people say sometimes, hey, I have kids, like there's some type of disease or something, like I got the kids. No, you should love your kids. That's just an excuse. Turn those excuses into motivators and reasons. And so it's immediate that you do that upon getting started, because I always say there's 1,000 different things that you can do to earn money, but your wants and reasons identified with this business is extremely important in the beginning. Now, the next thing you want to do is really align with your associations. And I like to say associations, but simultaneously I am talking about disassociations, because associations are key. You've often heard it said that you're the average of the 5 people you hang around most. So if you hang around, 4 brilliant people, then some of that knowledge and conversation will rub off on you. And obviously, if you hang around 4 people that are not brilliant, then the exact same thing happens, but in the other direction. And so associations are key. And so it's extremely important that you identify immediately what that inner circle will look like, because whether you want to or not, that environment is having an effect on you. And so sometimes it doesn't mean that, you have to, leave your wife or anything dramatic like that. Sometimes it simply means, you have to limit some conversations for that particular season. And so a great example of that I could give you is my mom. Man, I absolutely love my mom. But there were a moment in time where I was really, really focused on trying to be successful in business as an entrepreneur. And my mom, I would talk to her, 2 or 3 times a week and just kind of share with her about my success. And when I wanted to make the transition from corporate America to entrepreneur full time, I shared that excitement with my mom. And because she hadn't seen what I've seen and been where I've been and heard what I've heard and read what I read, she didn't see it the same way. She thought it was a terrible idea to leave my engineering job, my good engineering job with benefits. And so, and that conversation started to wear on my mindset over time. And so I decided, you know what? I love my mom, but instead of talking to her 2 or 3 times a week and having to hear her share with me that she didn't think it was a great idea, I moved it to once a month. And I'm so glad I did, because after working diligently for 60 months, I was able to leave my job and has been making 6 figures a month, 6 figures a year, ever since then from home. And so sometimes there's a disassociation that has to take place as well as an association. Now, the next thing is sacrifice. Like, what are you willing to give up? Those things are important. And so everyone has the same amount of time in a day. Guess what? Wealthy people got 24 hours in a day. Poor people got 24 hours in a day. The only difference is, what do they do with their time? Are you spending time watching the next, reality television show? Or are you spending time sharpening your axe on the next skill that you need to pick up? And so those things are absolutely important. So understanding that there will be a sacrifice that's necessary, because at the end of the day, you have to walk up to the counter of success and pay full price. Okay, there are no discounts. And in order to do that, you have to be willing to give something up right now to make room for the change. And so for me, when I got started in business, man, I played in 2 basketball leagues. I love playing basketball. And so those 2 basketball leagues gave me a gratification and a satisfaction that I love. But more importantly, I knew that I couldn't play in those 2 leagues and have the financial success that I wanted long term, because it just wasn't enough time in the day for me to do everything. So I went from playing in 2 leagues to playing in 1 league, and I was able to have success. And then about 36 months into the journey, I said, listen, this is going well. I'm making great money, but I could probably do even more. And so I went from 1 league to no league for a small period of time. Okay, I'll sacrifice what I did as a hobby for what I wanted to do for a living. And so again, it was able to afford me the opportunity to earn the type of income I needed to earn to be a full-time entrepreneur. Now I can play in any league that I want if I so choose, because I got the time freedom to do so. And so, but you have to be willing to sacrifice something right now. It may be a bowling league. It may be, whatever it is, what it is, because you have to find the time you need to be successful and commit to this new journey that you're about to embark upon. And then third and finally, which is probably one of the most important parts, is that you have to be coachable. Okay, you have to be coachable. And I'm only going to spend just a few minutes on this topic, but being coachable is probably the reason that I've had success in business, because you got to realize at this moment in time, you've accomplished everything that you were going to accomplish with the information that you have. That's the bottom line, because if you could accomplish more, you would already have done so. And so the only way that you can go to the next level is for you to get information from someone else that you don't know about. Okay, so that information is going to sound weird. It's going to sound like it doesn't make sense because it's not a part of your knowledge base. So that's why being coachable is so critical, is because you're going to get information from your mentor or your success coach that's going to take you to a new level that you didn't have. And so that's why being coachable is so important, is because you didn't know what they're sharing with you, and they're now sharing it with you in order for you to go to the next level, which is absolutely important for your success. And so again, if they share something with you and you want to do it, that's not being coachable. You know why? Because you wanted to do it. Okay. However, it's the moment that they share something with you that you don't understand, that doesn't make sense, that you still do it. That's when you be coachable. And that's going to be the moment where you start to transition to the next level. So these 4 key areas are important for change. So let's recap really quick. Number 1, clearly defining what are your wants and reasons. Writing them down so you can see them and use it as motivation for yourself moving forward. Number 2, you want to make sure you identify who you want to associate and disassociate with, right? You want to get away from the people that got your problems and get around the people that got your solutions. It's just that simple, okay? And then number 3 is simply, you want to make sure that you identify clearly, what are you willing to give up? Okay, what is going to be your sacrifice? There's got to be a price to pay for your success. All right, most people think that success is going to knock at the door and it's going to be convenient for you. It's not set up that way. There is a price to pay, and you got to be willing to do that. It could be time, it could be money, it could be whatever it is, but make sure you clearly identify what you're willing to give up. And fourth and finally, you have to be coachable, okay? Because we understand that there's a trust factor in our relationship. And so we're not going to share anything with you that you should be doing that we as a leadership team are not doing ourselves. So we want to make sure that you don't take longer than necessary because you're basically thinking about whether or not you should do something. And so make sure you follow the guidance and advice of your mentor and coach and watch what happens. Being coachable is important. Remember, it's that moment where you decide to do something even though you may not necessarily want to, and that's when these change takes place. So listen, thank you so much for jumping on the training today. Take care and take charge.